views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline, the monthly public access television program that features news and information about Allen County government. Well, if you just crawled out from under a rock, or if you just came out of your coma, you may not have known this, but we have an election coming up in 2012. A fairly significant election at that. So we thought it would be a good idea to take some time to come out to the Allen County Election Board office and meet up with Beth DeLug, who's the Director of Elections here in Allen County, and talk to her about some of the things you need to be prepared for during the May and November elections. And Beth, first of all, thanks for taking time to be with us.
Oh, sure, it's a pleasure.
Last time we had an election this big, 2008, which was the presidential election and gubernatorial election. What was turnout for the primary and general election that year?
In the primary, it was around 30%, about 65% for the general election.
And all indications are we probably will have at least that much interest, if not more, this year.
Right. We are kind of running into the same type of thing, only the Republican side instead of the Democratic side as far as the primary. So there is still a possibility that Indiana will be part of the decision making for the Republican nominee. So we are gearing up for that.
Okay. Now let's talk about some of the changes that have occurred, although hopefully folks come out and vote every time there's an election. Some folks would only do it about every 4 years when there's a presidential race. So there have been quite a few changes, and one of which we are standing in. You have relocated.
Right. We're no longer in the city-county building, or soon to be the new Rousseau building. We are located on the corner of Calhoun Street and Superior in the old Highway Department building. We're on the first floor, and it's 1 West Superior.
Okay. And this is where early voting will be taking place, a process that has become increasingly popular, it seems like, at least from what I can tell through the years, and was certainly popular back in 2008.
Yes, absolutely. It was very popular in 2008. So this will be our first year of actually seeing what we think is going to be an increased amount of turnout in our new location. So.
And how will people access? You'll have, hopefully, enough parking for everybody.
Right. During the week, there will be parking that will be available on the west side of the building. There are public parking spaces that are free on that side. If that is full, there's parking in the city-county garage, which is right across Calhoun Street from us.
Okay. And besides early voting, you also have other options besides just the designated election days.
Right, that you can vote absentee by mail. We are currently sending out applications and ballots for that, and will through the 30th of April. Those ballots have to be back into our office by noon on Election Day. Or you can come down and vote starting April the 9th, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. And then we're also open on 2 Saturdays, April the 28th and May the 5th from 8 to 3 for early voting here at this location.
And only at this location for early voting?
That is correct. That's correct.
And then the actual election days?
Oh, yes. We'll have 128 polling locations open on Election Day. So.
And then the actual days when the official election takes place are what?
Tuesday, May the 8th for the primary, and Tuesday, November the 6th for the general election.
Okay. And I think you might have mentioned this, but how soon do you need to contact? Do they have to contact the office for absentee ballots?
Actually, they could get them on our website, or also indianavoters.com. Their absentee applications are available there, and certainly by calling us at 449-7329, we'll be glad to send an application out. And then once we receive that application, we will go ahead and send the ballot out.
Okay, and you mentioned website. Again, for folks who've who participated in 2010, 2011 elections, you're familiar with it. If not, for those in 2008, the website has been redesigned and is award-winning, as a matter of fact.
Yes, yes, we're very proud of it. Our website is www.allencountyvoters.info, and if you go to that website, there will be a link for maps and sample ballots. That will take you to our additional website that is linked to our GIS department, and from there you can type in your address and find out where your polling location is. You can get a copy of your sample ballots to take a look at. You can find out who your elected officials are right now. And so it's a very good tool for researching and getting prepared to come in to vote.
There is a lot of information on there, and it's a great resource. Let's talk about the ballot a little bit. Now, Beth, there has been a change that's taken place as far as what's going to be showing up on the ballot. Kind of explain that for folks and give them a demonstration on the voting machine.
Sure. The legislature last year changed so that public questions are actually going to be on the top of the ballot rather than at the end of the ballot. And so that's going to have things looking a little different than people are used to on the voting machine, and also for any absentee ballots that would go out. First of all, the first page is if you have a public question on your ballot, which not everyone in the county will have, but if you're in Fort Wayne Community Schools or East Allen County Community Schools, you will have this public question, and it will take up the whole first page of the ballot. So you will answer the question, or you can skip it if that's what you would prefer, and move on. And then on the second page starts the candidates.
Okay, so folks should be aware, just because they see the question come up, it doesn't mean something's gone wrong with the machine. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to vote for candidates. It's just the way that things will line up on the ballot.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And you mentioned Fort Wayne Community, East Allen, I think Huntertown also?
That is correct. Huntertown has a board utility question on their ballot as well.
And I'm trying to think, would there be more than one question on the ballot in any precinct necessarily?
Not this time. Each precinct only has one question this time.
Okay, so folks should be aware of that. Watch out for that first question.
That's correct.
But it is a good idea for folks to research those questions, and we will have some throughout Allen County, different ballot initiatives for different precincts. So they really need to study those, because you folks can't really help in terms of an explanation or anything like that.
Right. We cannot give you any kind of explanation of anything that's on the ballot. So the Fort Wayne Community Schools has a question on the ballot. East Allen County Community Schools has a question on the ballot. So if you're in those districts, take a look at that sample ballot, read the question, know what you want to do before you slows down the process. So anything you can do to be prepared will help yourself and your fellow voters.
And I think Huntertown also
has a question on the ballot as well.
What did you learn from what happened in 2008 that you can apply to 2012 to try to make things smoother for voters?
Well, we learned a lot about crowd control. We certainly had a lot of voters that came in, and so we're going to be doing whatever we can to make it easier for those crowds to get through. With this location, certainly, we're going to be able to have a lot more machines that are available for early voting, and I think that's going to help quite a bit.
Okay. Now, what can folks do to help make the process easier for your crew? What do they need to have with them and be prepared to show when they come in on election day or for early voting?
Well, what they want to do is make sure that they have their photo ID with them. That is one of the first things that we'll ask for. They'll also need to know at this election, you can have a Republican ballot, a Democratic ballot, or you could vote just the public question only if you don't want to vote in either the Republican or Democratic primary. But you do have to select one of those three things in order to vote in this election.
Okay. And then what else do they need to have with them? Just the ID and no.
They need to be registered to vote, of course. So that's another thing that they can do in order to be prepared. Make sure you're registered. If you've moved recently, update your voter registration so that there'll be a ballot ready for you.
Well, Beth, we appreciate you taking time to explain things for the folks out there. We certainly hope they'll take advantage of the opportunity to participate in the election process, and look forward to seeing how you use your new digs here, and best of luck to you and the crew.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
In Allen County, there are about 15,500 properties which do not use sanitary sewer in order to treat or discharge of their wastewater. Most of them commonly use a septic system. And we're here to talk about that today with Gary Chappell. Gary is the Director of Pollution Control in the Fort Wayne Allen County Department of Health, and it's their job to make sure and enforce the rules and laws as far as septic systems are concerned and make sure that they are operating properly. And Gary, first of all, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. I tell you what, tell us a little bit about these septic systems. In general, how do they operate? How do they work?
Well, almost every system has a septic tank outside the house. The wastewater out of the house flows into that tank. That main purpose of that tank is to separate out anything that's lighter than water floats, anything heavier than water sinks, and then the contaminated water flows out the end for further treatment. Typically, it would be some type of soil absorption field, either trenches in the ground or an above ground system that would further treat that before it goes into the environment.
And there are only certain systems that are allowable under law, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's a trench system or an elevated mound system are the two main types. There are also in Allen County some permitted discharge systems. Those are the three main types, and there's several variations of each that are allowed.
Yeah, I mentioned 15,500 properties thereabout here in Allen County, and I'm assuming we're talking about out in more rural sections, out into the reaches of the county.
That's where the majority of them are. There are some of those that are within the city limits of Fort Wayne, but the vast majority are out further in the county.
And do we have a lot of these that have problems, or very few?
Well, we have a little over 4,000 that we have no record of, and historically those do not have a proper system when it's investigated. But of the 15,000, probably 70% are in some form of issues related to that system that has to be dealt with.
Okay. And I think probably most people would have a pretty good idea of the problems caused by a system that's failing or not operating properly, but kind of give us an idea of the different types of problems that can cause.
Well, the State Department of Health in their rule that we enforce has 4 different definitions of failure. One is that it's surfacing on the property. One is that it backs up into the home. One is that it contaminates surface water. It discharges off the property. And the fourth one is that it goes down and contaminates groundwater. In Allen County, because of our tight soils in most of the county, we don't have a lot of issues with that last one. But really, the two that homeowners notice are obviously the backing up in the home and the surfacing in the yard. The one that often goes undetected by a homeowner is the one that leaves the property and causes a problem for someone else.
And especially if, depending on the terrain of where the property is situated, you could be talking about runoff into maybe even possibly streams or bodies of water that travel throughout the county.
That's correct. In addition, some of them end up coming to the surface, but it's on somebody else's yard, and that's when we get the complaints that we trace back on those.
Now, your office gets involved from a complaint standpoint. If you get a phone call or contact from someone out there, that's when you go out to check the situation, right?
That's correct, and it's not very often it's a specific property that they complain about. They complain about a situation, like you said, either in a ditch somewhere or coming up in their yard, and it's our job to trace back and see where that problem's coming from.
What's the cause of most of the breakdown or the failure of these systems? Is it just a matter of time and their age, or are there other contributing factors?
The age of the system, there's a lot of them that weren't installed properly to begin with, or a system wasn't really installed, just a tank and then a tile running out somewhere. In addition, lack of maintenance over the years is a contributing factor in a lot of cases.
I would imagine that one point of concern for folks who may be, say, looking at purchasing property out in rural areas of the county, a home, they might want to be concerned about if that property is hooked into a sewer system or whether it has a septic system on the property. What kind of help do they have in terms of knowing whether that system, that private system, is operating properly?
Well, we have recently implemented an ordinance that recommends that they get an inspection by a certified inspector. For years, homeowners have either assumed that a home inspection was going to cover that, or assumed if they didn't see a problem, everything was okay. And so the new ordinance requires a seller to inform the buyer if a home is serviced by an on-site system, and recommends that they get a certified inspection. And we have implemented a program of certifying inspectors and make that list available so they can get someone in that's going to basically do the same type of inspection on every home and give them a level of comfort of knowing the condition of that system.
So the health department itself does not do the inspections?
We do not. We just certify the inspectors that do those.
And what does it take to become certified, I guess?
Well, there's 4 parts of the test that you have to pass. You have to be a certified installer to begin with, so you're familiar with the functioning of a system. And then we have an additional test that's given to service providers and evaluators of systems that goes over all the steps in the process of doing the inspection so that they're familiar with that process, and takes them through what it takes to look at it and what they're looking for in order to become certified.
And if folks have questions about septic systems, if there are people out there who are interested in becoming certified, how do they get that information?
We have all of that on our website, allencountyhealth.com. And if they call into our office, one of the first steps of the certification is checking with the health department to see if there's a record of the system for that property. And we would recommend that at a minimum for anybody if they're looking, because if there's not a record, again, there's rarely a proper system there. And so it may be that you don't want to spend the money for the whole inspection if there's not even a record of it with the health department.
Gary, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it. Not a very pleasant subject to talk about, but pretty important for folks, especially if you're looking at buying a property and you want to know more about the system that takes care of the wastewater treatment in that area. Thanks again, Gary.
Thank you.
Well, from time to time here on County Line, we like to take the opportunity to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what takes place in Allen County government elected offices and departments. And today we're here in the office of the Clerk of the Courts. Lisa Borgman is the Clerk of the Courts here in Allen County. And as you can tell, it's quite a busy place, and this is just one office here. And Lisa, first of all, thanks for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Now, what are we looking at here? These are cases that are still open, is that right?
They're all open pending case files for Circuit and Superior Court. There's civil cases, divorce cases, and some of our felony cases are here. We also have basement filing rooms, and we have offices in 4 different locations. We have a small claims office that's in our courthouse annex. We have offices out to ACJC, which is Allen County Juvenile Facility, and at the Bud Meeks Center, which is one of our busier offices where all the traffic cases and misdemeanors are filed. It's a very, very busy office.
Busy and a lot of paper. Well, for folks who may not be familiar with exactly what the clerk does, give us kind of a synopsis of the role you play in government.
Sure. Well, there are 92 circuit court clerks in Indiana. We're part of the judicial branch of government. We keep the official court record. We're a manager of all the case filings, historical documents, and we take care of all the collections for the court. We collect over $34 million a year. So it's a very, very busy office. I have a staff of 62 people, so very busy.
So fees, fines, that kind of thing that you collect?
We collect for state, city, and county, different fees and fines.
And you're kind of an interesting I don't know if it's a hybrid's the right word, but you're part of county government as well as part of the state government in a way, right?
That's correct. We are part of the judicial branch, but there are some functions that we do that are non-judicial related, like marriage licenses.
I was going to say, besides the start of life and the end of life, I guess you could say birth and death, just about anything else involving life, you've got probably something to do with, like marriage licenses, for example.
Correct, and we keep that historical documents, a permanent record.
I know that one thing in this office that you're starting to gradually do more of is put some of this information out on the internet through websites. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. We're phasing it in. It's a big statewide project. It's called the Odyssey system, where people can go online and look up their court case information.
And you also got marriage license applications that you're now taking online. I know we did a segment about that not too long ago, but tell us a little bit about how that works and how that's going.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. It's saving the marriage license applicants a lot of time. They can fill out all their applications online, then come in. They just need to bring in some ID when they come in, pay their fees, and we can issue them a license.
Now, can anyone come up here at any time to get any kind of document they need, or what's required from your office to do that?
We do have some confidential records here that are not open to the public. They're adoptions and some different records like that. But overall, most of our records are public records that anybody can look at.
Are there fees involved?
Not to look at our documents. If you want copies, then there are fees associated with that.
What other work do you do for the courts?
We issue other documents also. So we issue all the subpoenas and summonses. We issue arrest warrants. We prepare those. We issue garnishment orders. All the different court filings, pleadings, and everything. We process and maintain those.
And you say, how many people did you have working here? About 5 dozen?
62, yeah.
Okay. Keeps you busy, I'm sure.
Very busy. Very busy office.
Well, let's take a look around at some of the other offices and let's head out.
Great.
Well, we've moved outside of the administrative office of the clerk of the courts, and we're still here on the second floor, but notice a bank of computers that you have out here. Tell us a little bit about the information folks can access using these.
Sure. We have information dating back from 1979 when we first went online with a lot of our criminal court cases. So you can access any of that from our public access area here. We also have computers set up that you can file for your marriage licenses online here at the courthouse.
So when we say the information is online, does that mean at your home computer you can get this as well, or is it just limited to here?
Both places, both places.
But this is in case you don't have a computer or internet access at home. And you've got about 3 or 4 set up here, so people are using this, I take it, pretty frequently?
Right. We have a lot of abstractors that come in that search our judgment dockets, and they'll spend hours out here researching records, so.
Well, now we've moved from the Allen County Courthouse, and we are in what is known as the Courthouse Annex. It is located in the 100 block of West Berry Street. Not exactly a conspicuous location. You kind of have to keep an eye out for it. And we are down in the basement portion. This is where your small claims court case files are located, right?
Right, and protection order cases are here too. Those are the 2 case types that are filed in our small claims court.
And we are standing in just one row of, well, you got about 8 or 9 rows of these, this long, plus one in the far back. Any idea how many pieces of paper you folks have to handle in a certain period of time? Can you even count it?
We have 28,000 new cases that are filed every year, with many pleadings within those court filings. So I don't have a good number for you, but it's definitely in the millions. So
yeah, 28,000 just new in a year, and these are not just new cases; these are old cases as well.
Correct. Right.
And small claims court probably is where more people would have dealings with your office, more than likely.
Right. It could be considered the people's court. You do not need representation by an attorney here. A lot of people come in what we call pro se. They come in without legal counsel.
Right. They handle their own case themselves. Right. And It's just kind of an example of the litigious society we have these days.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We we collect all the paperwork for garnishment orders here too. So judgment cases, it's just a very busy, active cases here. Yes, it is.
You located small claims out here about 10 years or so ago because you ran out of space in the courthouse. Obviously, you're starting to run out of space here. So the good news for folks and for your staff as well is that probably certainly by this time next year, you're going to be in a new location. Tell us a little about that.
Right. We're really excited about that. We've got a move coming up at the end of the year. We'll be moving to Superior Street. It's the old building department highway building. It's located on Superior and Calhoun, and there'll be a lot better parking there for the public. So we're really excited about that.
And voters registration, the election board are also located there, but you folks are going to be moving into what area of that building?
The clerk's office will be on the first floor, and then the whole lower level will be case filings down there, all our court cases.
And I know we'll have quite a task ahead of you to get all this stuff moved, but kind of give us an idea of how much more space you're going to have there.
Quite a bit more space. It'll be better to access, and it will be a big move. We'll probably have to close court probably for about a week, is what happened last time when we moved out of the courthouse. So it's a big move.
I was going to say, if you can get all this over there in a week, you're doing pretty good, probably. Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us and giving us an idea of the clerk's office. And really, we just touched on kind of the surface by what we showed in the courthouse and what we showed here. But you folks stay busy, and we appreciate all the work you do.
Thanks, Mike.
Allen County government is always looking for new ways to use modern technology to get more information out to the public. And we want to show you a couple of things that we've just recently implemented to try and make that information more accessible to folks who are on the go. You've probably seen codes like this on billboards or different advertisements. QR stands for quick response, and these blocks and squiggly lines contain all kinds of different data that you can access using your smartphone or mobile device. All you have to do, in this case, we're going to look at this QR code for Allen County government. The only thing you need besides the smartphone or device is to have a QR reader software or application downloaded. I use one called QR Reader. There are several of these out there that are available that work well and that are free, which is the best part. All you do is use the camera on your cell phone and you scan the code. Then your smartphone will read the code and provide the data for you that's in there. Now, in the case of this QR code for county government, we take you to a page that allows you one-touch access to us. With one touch, you can call the office, you can send an email to us here, you can even interact with us through our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Now there's another button on here called mobile website that we want to talk to you about. This is the county government website. As you can see, it's full of information, different ways to get around to different departments in county government, latest news and information, along with our social media outlets. But imagine trying to read this information on this size of a screen. It's kind of like trying to fit an elephant into a doghouse. So what we've done in county government now is develop a mobile optimized website. Simply what that means is when you go to www.allencounty.us on your mobile phone, you'll now get the same basic website, except it's in a format that's much more readable and user-friendly for those of you with mobile devices and smartphones. News and information on the front page, the same buttons that you would see on our regular page along the top row. For example, under Government, if you go there, you'll find different departments in the administrative field. Let's say you want to see what's on the agenda for an upcoming legislative session of the Board of Commissioners. Just touch Agenda, and there it is. Again, it's in a much more readable format, much more user-friendly for those of you with smartphones or mobile devices. One other thing we want to make you aware of in county government, and that's the issuance of our 2011 Allen County Annual Report. It's an 18-page full-color booklet that contains information about county government, kind of a year in review of what took place. We have budget and financial information for you. You can see where our revenues for the 2011 general fund came from and how that money was spent. We also take a look at some of the big things that happened during the year. Obviously, one of the biggest was the relocation of several county government offices to Citizen Square at 200 East Berry Street, and also the renovation work that's been taking place at the City County Building, soon to be known as the Rousseau Center, to have it ready for city and county public safety agencies to move into as their new headquarters. We also have news about economic development activities that took place in the county during 2011. Also information about what different departments did, such as the highway department and the building department. Now, this will be available at all the branches of the Allen County Public Library for you to read. If you'd like a hard copy from our office, all you have to do is contact the Commissioner's office. We'd be glad to send you one out. But this is also available on our website. If you go to our front page and you click on the image, there is the 2011 Annual Report for Allen County. And you can scroll through it, read it at your leisure. You can download it for reading at a later time. Again, it's free to you and available either in hard copy or on our website. And that's going to do it for this edition of County Line. A reminder for you that this program, as well as previous County Line programs, are available to you by going to our YouTube site and our video on demand site, and that is available at our website, www.allencounty.us, video on demand or YouTube. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and we'll see you next time on County Line.